What's the only thing better than a central long-toed salamander to start off your herping trip? How about 5 under one rock? I figured, well, we'll just flip and see if we get 1 or 2 more before we leave for fun. Next rock had 5 under there. They're aggregating here where there's a little bit of moisture before the winter sets in. That is so cool. They'll be all ready for migration next year. So this is what the habitat just downslope from the pond looks like. You know, big pine trees, but also very dry. Look at the undergrowth. Very rocky. Almost like a northern Arizona in the middle of summer type feeling. Wild, just the variance in climate. Or not climate, but microhabitat. So these 2 little specimens are Plethodon idahoensis, the Coeur d'Alene salamander. Only found in extreme northwest Montana and here in northern Idaho in little seeps and streams. More abundant in the spring, but typically you can still get some in the fall, especially late September and on into October like this. Notice the stripe on the back. Looks almost like a long-toed, but the head looks very Plethodon. These are the only Plethodon in the Rocky Mountains, unless you count the Jemez Mountain salamander in New Mexico as still the Rockies. It's a little far south for me to call it the Rockies, but they were found in this little overgrown mountain trickle. Major Smoky Mountain vibes finding these things, even though we're in the western U.S. here in the northern Rockies. It's about 55-60 degrees just along the stream bank. So here's another Coeur d'Alene salamander. This one is a little bit bigger, more of an adult. Still not very large, probably about 3 inches or so. Found in the same little trickle where we saw the 2 juveniles just a moment ago. Here he is on some creekside moss. Just to look at the scenery around Coeur d'Alene area. This is just after we found our Coeur d'Alene salamander. Interesting little contrast where the dammed up Coeur d'Alene lake kind of stops, but there's this marshy area here, and behind it pine trees and kind of dry looking grasslands. Interesting contrast, I thought. Very pretty. So this guy is a big larvae of the Idaho giant salamander. Just took him out of the water for a quick second, and we're going to put him right back in this rushing, well, not really rushing, more like trickling little mountain creek in eastern Idaho. These guys are endemic to eastern Idaho and western Montana, cousins of the Dicamptodon on the west coast, the coastal and California giants that live in the Cascade Mountains and westward. This is the only one that lives on the other side of the Cascade Mountains. Beautiful and very big salamander. Just for size reference, there's my finger. There he goes. He knows which direction the creek is. We'll help him back that way though.
Nathan, this is your 500th lifetime herp.
It is. Idaho giant salamander. And this is my favorite part of finding herps usually. Getting to see them go back into their natural habitat. And Idaho giant goes back home. Man, that water is freezing. Freezing. Kind of fitting that my 500th lifetime herp is a lot like the stuff I fell in love with in the Smoky Mountains when I was 12 and 13, rushing Mountain Creek and salamanders and little dip net like I'm 13 again. But it's on the other side of the country. So, cool deal. Really cool deal. Well, yesterday we got all the salamanders we could get on the Idaho part of this trip and tailed frog in a single day. I was not really expecting that. Tailed frog got away before we got any video, but we did snap a few pictures that I'll include in the film. There's Chloe with her water bottle. So we're out here, and this is just to give you a little panorama of forest in northeastern Washington, just across the Idaho border. We're hunting around for rubber boas and a few frogs and whatever. We basically did nothing for the first half of today because we did so well yesterday. So we just hung out at the Airbnb, and it's a very low chance of seeing a rubber boa, but we figured, well, might as well go do something and hike. And it's just so pretty. Okay, this is a garter snake of some sort. I am torn between whether this is a western terrestrial slash wandering is the subspecies on that that's far north, or whether this is a valley garter, which is the subspecies of common garter snake that lives in the northern Rockies in the inland northwest. I'm totally not a wandering garter. That's like so common, you know? Okay, well, it's a valley girl. I mean garter. I don't know. Someone who lives in this region, I guess, chime in the comments, and I'll have to do some research on iNaturalist and compare pictures to see which one this is. Leaning a little bit toward terrestrial because it's got just this hint of black blotching down there, but I don't know. Still a cool garter snake, and it was found in this beautiful habitat out there. It's like edge of a marsh with mountains in the background. Playing a little Neil Young, Harvest Moon, because he was Canadian. The camera is not doing justice to how enormous these mountains are. Wow. This is an eastern long-toed salamander. Look at that guy. Look at how bright the stripe is right down the middle of the back, unbroken. This is typically how the ones here in Montana look. The eastern subspecies that is kind of straddles the continental divide. And this is just, I can't believe this. We had 4 salamander targets for this trip, and we've now seen all of them. Seen all the salamanders possible in Idaho, Montana. And what pretty habitat too. Like, look at all the logs on the ground. They're paper birch. Paper birch, and I think some aspen and stuff. Just such pretty logs. Reminds me of my very early childhood in northern Michigan. But here we are in the northern Rockies. We are outside of Glacier National Park, far enough that I feel comfortable we're not gonna stroll up on a grizzly bear or something. And yeah, that's what we're looking for today. I'll probably pose them a little bit on some more contrasty material, like something green. Maybe do a little more video there, and then we'll leave him back to his log. How cool. Eastern long-toed. Little more footage of that long-toed salamander on a green and yellow leaf for some nice contrast. I just love how bold that stripe is. cool find. It's my first salamander in the state of Montana. And it's an awesome lifer. Right now we are looking for absolutely nothing herp-wise. We're just hiking. It's kind of a beautiful place. Too bad it's a little hazy today, but still, waterfall, crystal clear river, ginormous mountains, draining into a lake that's down that way. This is Glacier National Park. Well, we are in Glacier National Park, just kind of lollygagging around because we got the only salamander we needed today, earlier today down in a different part of the county. Glacier is stunning. I went to Yellowstone in 2017, and those are some big mountains. Being in the Rockies for the first time kind of blew me away. But Glacier is really something else. These mountains are larger by a lot. Also, there's a mountain goat way up that ridge. I'll put a still picture from way far away. I mean, like probably at least a mile away in the video. But it's way far away, and even zoomed in it won't be super clear. Here is a Columbia spotted frog. Little juvenile, basically dark tan background color. Spots on the back and a little bit on the legs. There are like 3 or 4 juveniles just down in this little side pool of this gorgeous river in Idaho. We're coming back from Montana to sort of a lower elevation spot where I thought we'd still need to probably look for long-toed salamanders on our last full day tomorrow, but turns out we don't. So we'll just be relaxing, but thought we'd also try for some frogs. And this is the one we wanted to see the most, the Columbia spotted. And there he is. We're going to look for a little bit bigger adult. But very nice to at least see the juvenile and get the species. Here is yet another Columbia spotted frog. Much larger than the first one we got. This is an adult. They're the size of a small green frog for those of you who are herpers in the eastern U.S. watching this just for size reference. They don't really get much bigger than this. And this one was found very near the other one, but in more of a pond habitat, just off the river. And they also have very pretty legs. See if I can get a shot of those for you if I pick them up real quick. And it looks like he kind of has something wrong with his front right. A little swollen. I'm not sure if that's some sort of fungus or what, you know, maybe he's had a tussle with a garter snake recently, but hopefully he recovers from that just fine. So let's see. See how the legs are just all red. Very pretty. We're going to let him go back into the pond and film that part, and then continue on with our day. Well, here he goes back into his pond. Go on. And back where he belongs. So this is cool. This is a Columbia spotted frog. Much more contrasty than the ones from this morning because it's much lighter in color. It's still in Idaho, but very near the Washington border, and it's a much larger individual. About the size of a big green frog. And guess who caught it?
My first frog catch.
And it's a nice, big, beautiful Columbia spotted frog. Cool deal. Just because herping near the Airbnb.